Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage Jewelry. My name is Linda. If you're returning, thank you so much. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I haven't posted in a while, and for those of you guys following me, probably wondering, maybe not, maybe no one's noticed, but I haven't posted in the last while. It's been a very interesting last few days, and I've been getting a lot of downloads. So for those of you guys who are new to this channel, I posted a couple of videos a while back just in regards to my spiritual awakening and twin flame journey, and yeah, just energy and how it's shifted in the last little while for me. So I don't even know where to begin, but Spirit was guiding me and telling me I had to share my story. And it's difficult because, I mean, I'm a pretty private person, so I don't really know exactly what that entails. But I do know that, okay, so most of my readings are to help people in situations where they might be experiencing a connection with another individual that might be challenging. Okay, so however you want to label it. I mean, call it twin flame, call it soulmate, call it karmic, call it whatever you'll call it, because labels really, put things in a box. And I feel that it is challenging when you start putting things in a box. And like the spiritual community, well-known speakers in the spiritual community don't really even like to label twin flame, or they shy away from twin flame connections because of the whole stigma around what that could mean. And I mean, on my channel, I haven't really been steering away from it because there is a lot to be learnt from what a twin flame connection, from putting that label on it so people understand what we're meaning, okay, when we say this connection. So it is difficult for those people who have not experienced or understand, and I'm using twin flame journey, to understand what that's about. And for those people who are not sure what a twin flame journey is, but experiencing all of the experiences that one would in going through this twin flame journey, they don't know where to look. So online, if they are searching up, connections and relationships, and they're coming across this twin flame label, it becomes easier for them to find information to assist in this process. Okay, so my spiritual awakening, I feel, has happened prior to meeting my twin flame. Slowly, I think I've been slowly going through a spiritual awakening, and I feel like connecting with my twin flame triggered me in a lot of ways for quicker growth. And you can watch my previous videos, but the biggest challenge for me was I was very dominant, very assertive, very like in sales focused career. So I had to be, fairly masculine in my approach to my whole life, really, because I've been in sales forever. And like even just in my energy as a whole. So this video might do a little bit of a loop-de-loop-de-loop, so I don't even know what I'm going to call it, but Spirit's wanting me to communicate this because I feel like someone's needing to hear this message very intently. Okay, so first it is, am I the divine masculine? Am I the divine feminine? So I know I'm in a twin flame journey. I don't even question it anymore because of all of these bizarre synchronicities, coincidences, and everything that I've experienced over the last 2 years since I've met my twin flame has been, I just stopped asking why. I could go on about the synchronicities and everything because it's very unique to the journey you're on, but there are certain experiences that people will have on the twin flame journey that once you start to look it up, you're like, that explains so much of what I've experienced, and I don't feel like I'm crazy. Okay, so yeah, where I was going with the divine masculine, divine feminine, I definitely know that my twin flame is definitely a divine masculine in energy, because he's typical divine masculine. Okay, very divine masculine. I don't even question it. But my energy, on the other hand, I was never very feminine. More so, more immersed in my masculine energy. Okay, and when I met him, I feel like I automatically switched to a divine feminine. And at first I was like weirded out by it because I've been married for 23 years and I've never would come out in the same way as I did when I'm with my twin flame. So for example, like I'd be very caring, or very, I don't even know if caring is the word, but very motherly, almost like I'd have to make sure that he's taken care of, which is not really something that I would do in my marriage. In fact, I'm still legally married. My husband, he is probably the type that would need or be more comfortable with someone mothering him, but I just never really did the whole mother thing. It's like, you have two hands, you have two legs, you have whatever, just go cook, go clean, go do whatever you need to do. And I was kind of the more dominant, assertive, whatever, just prove it to myself type energy. And then when I met my twin flame, it was like I had this like innate energy coming through me that was like, I want to feed you, and I want to make sure you're okay, and I want to rub your feet, and I want to make sure you're okay. Like, it was just this very bizarre type motherly thing that was happening inside me. And I say bizarre because for me, I'm 43 and I've never been in that type of an energy that just kind of came out of, I don't even know where it came out of. So what I'm trying to question now was I my divine masculine, and balancing with my divine feminine was part of my journey here, and uncovering how to balance myself, because we know in a twin flame journey it's all about the self-discovery and the work we do on ourselves. And I don't want to get so off track, but I've been coaching people that are going through twin flame journey, specifically with providing energy readings. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it definitely helps, but I don't know if it's helping in the way that I'm intending to help or assist people that are going through this journey, as much as maybe explaining or having these videos might help. So I think I might do these blend of videos cards, so you can, if you're not on this twin flame journey, you can certainly just see when I post, energy readings. But there's one thing to see what sort of energy people are in, how's my twin flame feeling, how's this person or that person think of this. And it helps when you're in a certain stage, I think, and when you feel really alone, and if you're really in a dark place of really wanting to understand where you're at and put the pieces together, tarot readings and energy readings, I feel, really assist people who, as long as obviously the reader you're following, or you're using your intuition and you're resonating and is helping you to put a picture together to kind of get you going. But I did a video not too long ago about, are we dependent on these tarot readings, these energy readings, and getting stuck in a cycle or a loop and not doing the work that we have to do. So, I appreciate people who obviously have subscribed to my channel and are still here because, they want to touch base every once in a while with energy readings on their person or wherever they're in their journey. And I feel like as I ascend, my readings might be evolving with me. So there could be people definitely energetically evolving, ascending at the same time I am. So these readings could definitely be bringing out different information. But what I'm trying to say are people who are, constantly in a state of not doing the work, of just kind of, I don't know, watching YouTube video after YouTube video, specifically about energy readings on how their person is feeling or what's going on with their person, and in this like dark place, and I've been in the dark place of not even wanting to get out of bed when I'm going through the dark night of the soul, and I've had to purge a lot of programming and purge a lot of attachments. And I've done video about all the attachments and how I put the pieces together based on my upbringing, that I felt like I had to prove to myself, you know, because I'm a doer. So it was like, if I wasn't doing and doing, then I didn't feel like I was productive, or I didn't feel like I was, I don't even know if it's good enough, but yeah, if I wasn't doing something, then I felt like, well, then you're lazy, or you're not really, you know, I feel guilt, I feel heaviness, I feel like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And now when I look back on it, it's like, who says what you're supposed to be doing? And the fact that I was constantly needing to fill every single, you know, gap of time with something, I think, well, twofold. One could be we're distracting ourselves from the reality of looking at our lives and saying, you know, am I happy with what it is that I'm doing? Or, you know, is there something here that I'm trying to distract myself or cover up? And a lot of times it could just be complacency. Like, you don't have to be miserable. In fact, if you're miserable or depressed, then you tend to go through a phase where you're going to eventually want to get out of that. Or, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not diagnosing like depression. I'm just saying like lulls of where you're feeling sadness or depressed, or if you're really unhappy with the job. Like, most people have had more than one job, and they recognize when it's time to go, and they have a new phase in life, or if they're in a home and it no longer suits or serves our emotions and our connection to whether we're resonating with that, or if that piece of our life is over, we'll know to move on, kind of thing. So when we're complacent, it's very scary. Okay, so, and complacency is routine. And I mean, I'm a Virgo, I like routine, and you can talk to anyone who knows me really, really well. And I was very, very, very much routine. And I mean, I'm still a little bit routine, but I'm kind of trying to figure things out, because everything that I had that was a routine in my life, gone. Like, I quit my job, I couldn't no more. You know, my marriage is just not, you know, we're in separation. And I mean, I don't know that every day is the same for me. I mean, I'm still, you know, doing readings online and trying to figure out, but it's like, okay, if I want to go for a walk today, that's what I do. If I want to record a video, then that's what I do, right? And I'm just trying to get really in tune with what it is that my soul is calling me to do. So it could be, you know, a depressing place to be figuring it all out as, again, my environment's calibrating around me. But what I was trying to get at is, if we're complacent, we stay stuck in the matrix. Okay, we stay stuck with the programming where we're told we have to do, you know, or if we're not doing, then there's something wrong with us. But where is this coming from? Like, who is anybody to tell you what you're supposed to and not supposed to be doing? And I feel like, you know, the light workers and all the people here who are raising the consciousness and ascending here are providing information to the rest of the people here who are, you know, in the matrix, so to speak. And then I was thinking, I was like, well, most of my readings, I'm talking to other people ascending like me. So it's like, how am I getting through to the people who need to hear this? And Spirit was just telling me that, you know, a lot of times people will have an experience such as the twin flame experience, and then they will stumble across the right information at the right time. So I'm not by far a psychologist slash, you know, official counselor in any which way. I just have my own experience. But I feel like I've been through an experience and can provide the most amount of information based on my experience to other people who have also experienced the same thing, without holding back what this is like, because you do feel like you're going crazy or insane or what have you, right? And especially going through my spiritual awakening, and then having the catalyst of my twin flame kind of propel me into, you know, a dark night of the soul, and everything kind of combined just was a lot. So I'm gonna have to break down, you know, in videos what this is really about. But why this was triggered was because I've been helping coaching people with tarot, and I had someone who is a subscriber of mine, and yeah, and I felt my heart go out to her. We'll call her Tara, okay? That's not her name, but we're gonna call her Tara. And she was like, I don't know what this is, like this connection. And right away when she reached out to me to do an energy reading, it's like I could feel the intense energy between her and her twin flame. And when you're in a twin flame journey long enough and you're a twin flame, you kind of tend to recognize other twin flames energetically. And I mean, obviously I'm an energy reader, so maybe that's an overstatement, but it's just I knew right away based on what she was explaining to me and what she was feeling that was exactly what was going on. And she was like, I've just had enough. And at a certain point in my twin flame journey where I was just like, if I had and this is hurtful, so if my twin flame ever watches these videos ever, I don't want this to hurt him, but I'm sure he probably felt the same way, where if I could just throw it away, throw not him away, but being in this journey, I would have at certain points in time. And maybe he wouldn't, because he's a little different than me. And he knows I get impatient and I just want to throw it all away or delete it all, because I go through those phases. But I would have just said, fuck it. Like, I'm not wanting to go through this journey because I'm experiencing so much anxiety, and I'm like, I want to go back to my ignorant, complacent self. Like, I've been like, God, like, why is this happening? Like, just, can I go back to where I was? And you can't unsee. And the bigger prayer for me to God was just let the best thing, the greatest outcome happen here, and if the greatest outcome is I have to go through this, endure this, whatever this is for a bigger purpose, then let that be the big purpose, right? But in times of frustration, with my twin flame or in growth or the dark night of the soul, I'm just like, I don't want this, and I don't see the value in this. I don't see the value in getting rid of and pushing people out of my life who've been there for so long, and I don't see the value in any of the things that I was detaching from, other than, okay, you feel liberated, you're no longer attached, so you feel like a calmness about you, but it takes a while to get there, but there's lots of tears, and make a whole video with that. But let's go back to Tara. So she's new on the journey, and I was like, you know what, I really wish I could understand from someone else's perspective. And I'm sure there's lots of videos on YouTube, but from an energy reader, I guess, and somebody who's actually experienced the same thing I have experienced, and be able to articulate it in a way that provides comfort, and I really wish I could have just, picked up the phone to call her if we were corresponding via email. And I just felt really like I needed to give her some sort of energy support and validation, because I knew exactly what she was talking about, and we go through that in our journey where we're just at the lowest of the lows, and we just don't want to go through it anymore. And, and then there's highs and lows. So my twin flame and I have been constantly in contact. Like I talked about in my other videos, we've never gone through a real bubble phase. Every time we're together, I feel is a bubble phase for me, because it's like you're levitating on some sort of high. But, then there's separation, and I feel like every time we're apart for a while, I feel like we're separated. But this is the insight I wanted to provide. So the last argument, I guess, we had, or disagreement, it was where I was saying, well, I feel like you're holding back, and why is it that I feel like there's like a wall between us? Like I just felt like he wouldn't really open up, and still doesn't really open up emotionally. But it was like, why could we not make things work? Why could we not be together? Why are you feel so like you're holding back? And he says, I don't want a serious relationship, and I'm thinking, like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't even know what his definition of a serious relationship was. So I was like triggered, and I'm like, okay, well, is this, well, I wasn't triggered at that point because I already knew he didn't, and he's said that to me before. So it wasn't like this was a surprise to me, because we've still been in communication for the whole time, but I was still like probing because he still hasn't opened up. Like, I still don't understand, you know, so I was like, well, why do I feel like we still cannot connect, you know, or we connect, but it just feels like there's like a block, or like he's not being his full self or allowing himself to fully express himself. Okay. So he says, I don't want a serious relationship. And then I'm like, is this something you are used to saying? Because I don't feel as though he's been, well, he hasn't been married, but I don't feel like he's been in very many serious, deep relationships. Okay. This is my guess. I don't know. We don't really talk about it, but I think at one point I had asked him, and I think he said 2 years with somebody. I don't know how deep it got. I just sense that, you know, he hasn't been in a really deep connection. So, and I know for sure this is a very deep connection, like very deep, very spiritual, very twin flame, like, yeah, it's intense for me, and I'm super comfortable with intensity, okay, because I'm a very intense person. So he says this, and I'm like, is this something you just always have said to yourself, and you're just repeating it? Or, and he's like, no, it's how I feel. And after he said that's how he feels, it kind of like, then that triggered me. It kind of hurt. So I was like, you still feel this way, you know, and there's nothing I can do about this. And I had responded like, well, I want a serious relationship now. So it's kind of like, you know, screw you. If you don't want it, then that's on you. And I don't want what you want. And then in the same breath, I was like, how can I, you know, cut him out of my life because he doesn't want a serious relationship? Like, it just seems so silly, you know? And so the next text was just like, I want to be a part of your life. And you know, if it's not a serious relationship, then I'll just love you unconditionally, like in the 5D, and still be your friend. Like, I'm cool with that. Yes, it's difficult, but what do you want me to do? Like, I'm not prepared to cut you out of my life, right? So that was the communication. And then we were apart, and then we come back together, and you know, after whatever week, 2 weeks, however long it was, and we come together, and it was like we'd never even parted again. And you know, the love is still there, and it's strong, and it's unconditional. And here I'm thinking, like, I don't want to repeat cycles, okay? Because we've been repeating these cycles, and I'm like, if we keep repeating these cycles, I'm not ascending, and I'm just kind of whatever in his game, quote unquote, or whatever it is that he's doing. And I don't want to be a part of it, right? Is what I was thinking and saying. But it was like, but my heart felt like, well, I want to talk to him, and I feel like I want to connect, and I don't feel like it's coming from a place of me, you know, being lonely. If anything, it was like, when we're apart, I feel like I'm productive. And when he came back, it's just like, oh my gosh, like I could feel the intensity of the love, where I'm just like, I wouldn't be honest with myself if I'm saying I'm not feeling it or not wanting him around, or if I say I felt anger, because I didn't. And even though I wanted to be upset and hold true to my boundary, because I'm like, well, I'm not just somebody here that you can just come and go as you please. Like, you know, again, I haven't physically met my twin flame. So when I say come together, it's like we will be on, we'll communicate steadily, and then we just, you know, trigger each other and then go our separate ways for a while. So anyway, we're on again, and it felt so right, you know, although it still feels like there's a disconnect there some way or another. So I feel like, you know, the cycle's happening, and this is what I wanted to make this video about, was when the cycle is happening, you know, you beat yourself up because you're like, well, I'm supposed to put a boundary. And, you know, before it would be like, well, I need to ascend, because if you ascend, your twin ascends. Like, that's how it happens, you know. But now it's like, I need to ascend because I want to break away from whatever this is what I'm thinking, right? Like, I just don't even want to be, again, if I could throw this away, I'd throw it away. And if I can heal myself, then I'm no longer, whatever, doing these cycles, is what I'm thinking. But in the last, I don't know, however many few times we've gotten together, he's come back and been like, okay, like, however it is, he comes back, says hi, or sends me a song, or whatever the case may be, right? And it's like, I know he misses me, and I miss him too, because we talk about it, and that's exactly what we're talking about. But it's like, why do you keep coming back to me for these cycles? I get so frustrated with it. And then Spirit's giving me a download, and Spirit says to me, are you wanting to be with him in a commitment because that's what you've told yourself? So Spirit was asking me the same question I had asked him. And I was like, why am I asking him for something here? Like, I was really thinking about, what was I asking him for? You know, and was it me asking, or was it my ego asking? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't even want a commitment from him. Like, I don't want a commitment from him from where he's at. Like, he's, I don't know, doing his own thing, which is fine. But I just feel like we're in two different planets, you know, and, you know, I was open to being in a different part of a different planet to see how we could work together here. But I feel like he's so doing his own thing that I don't even feel like he'd want to collaborate with me, or like I'd be shut out, is kind of how I feel. So it's like, you know, when I'm around him, I feel love inside, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not really 3D based. Because 3D based, I mean, he's not really one to shower me with affection, and it doesn't really seem like he's all that caring to me, you know. And you might think, well, that sounds horrible, but it's just, I feel the love, and I mean, he tells me he loves me, which is caring, but it's like me mothering somebody who is just allowing me to mother them, and it's like, it doesn't feel balanced, you know, or at least at one point. I don't think we're there anymore, because I've really been pulling back my energy when it comes to mothering him, or like outpouring how I'm actually feeling for him, but the love is still there, the unconditional love. So let's go back to what Spirit was telling me. So when Spirit was hitting me with this, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I even want a commitment here with him in this state. So he obviously needs to go do whatever work he needs to go do the work, right? And I'm like, for a while now, I'm like, well, I've been doing the work, and it's like, now I'm just like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? And it's like, no. If I'm like kicking around, wondering, watching videos, and not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, he's kicking around, hanging out, watching videos, doing whatever he's doing. So he's not ascending. He ain't doing diddly diddly, because I'm sitting doing diddly diddly. So I was like, I need to forget about him. I need to just go and do what I was doing. And then it occurred to me, every time him and I are apart, I get like inspired and fired up and inspired to do something closer to my soul's calling. And that's when I get downloads. And that's when Spirit was talking to me. And, you know, when the Spirit was saying, well, do you, need him to commit? Or is that something that you've always told yourself? And I'm like, that's a good point, Spirit. Like, I just felt like I was leveling up with these questions. And then I also felt I leveled up when I was like, you know what I need to do? And this one's going to be very difficult, but I'm like, I need to do a video about my marriage, okay? And I need to get my husband on video here and have like a discussion. And so I talked to him, and I asked him, and I said, for my YouTube, would you come on my YouTube? And I'm not going to tell you exactly what the topic is here, because I don't know, but I feel like I have to communicate this story. And he's like, yeah, I'd come on. I'm like, well, I just want to make it clear that it is just for helping people who are going through, similar challenges, experiences in their marriage. And so he's agreed. And I think it'll be interesting, because it will be raw, and it will be, questions that I probably haven't asked him when it's just him and I feel like we don't talk. He's fairly shut down, or has been for most of the marriage, which was part of the issue. And I feel like I just stopped asking too. So we were very separate. So yeah, I know this video is really going in a lot of places here, but what I wanted to express was that I feel like going through experience experiences and then sharing it so other people can understand these experiences as well, I think is going to be a lot more helpful than just providing energy readings, you know, with tarot cards, about how your person is feeling, which I think is important depending on, like I said, where you're at with the journey. But there's such a big part about, you know, what Spirit was telling me. Again, so many downloads, I don't even know where to begin, but we'll go back to Tara. Tara was really lost and really confused, and you know, I was pretty certain she was at the beginning of her journey based on the reading that I had done for her, and I could have went on and on and on and on forever. But I mean, there's only so much information that you can really take in. So I feel like, you know, if I do a series of videos, depending on, you know, obviously the description, people are going to be drawn to it and watch them at the right time. So this is kind of more of a preliminary, what does that look like? But I really feel like, you know, synchronicities and scary parts, and I say scary because there's parts that really freak me out that have happened that I couldn't even, you know, make up if I wanted to, that just keep confirming, you know, my twin flame. It's just really interesting. And then, you know, parts within the spiritual awakening where you're really, really going through a dark night of the soul, and you really feel like nobody really fully understands or can connect it to what you're experiencing. So you hear words, but it's like, what is that person really experiencing, you know, and going in the depths of what you feel like. And I know everyone's journey is different, but I do feel like there's commonalities that, you know, might help people with the difficult, challenging parts of that. And then there's, like I said, the marriage part, you know, like 23 years is a really long time. And that was all really routine, you know. My husband and I have been together since I was 18, and it is, you know, like, well, I'll save a lot of this for the video that we do together, but just so you guys know how close we really are, we didn't spend any night apart for probably till, I don't know, at least like 18 years, if not more, being married. And we were always, always, always together, like almost connected at the hip, you know? So it was really interesting going through detaching from my husband. And I do feel like he's a soulmate. I don't feel like he's karmic in any which way. And I do feel like from the downloads I was getting from Spirit, this last separation with my twin flame, we left on a positive note. We weren't even arguing. And I didn't hear from him. And so I'm like, he knows I get triggered if I don't hear from him. And we weren't falling in a routine where I'd hear from him. And then I was triggered by that too. And I'm like, why are you sending me messages if you don't want a serious relationship? I'm like, stop messaging me in the morning. Like, I don't really know why you keep on this. But then when he doesn't and he listened to me, it's like, now I'm triggered, you know? So it's like he can't really win. But this last coming together, like, it just felt like we shared love, and then I don't hear from him. And at first I was really triggered and angry, and then I start getting these downloads, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I should just message him and be like, are you okay? Like, I love you, you know, that's how I'm feeling. And then I'm like, well, no, because my ego's getting in there. I'm like, but I'm still angry. And all of that kind of went away because I was like really doing this, and I was like, clearly I still have work to do here. If I'm like triggered and then not triggered, and then I'm feeling this and then I'm feeling that, you know, what the heck is going on with me? And the download was like, you still have work to do. You know, you still have work to do. You have to really uncover, why are you still getting triggered by this? And then it dawned on me that I was getting into like energetic arguments, I guess, with my husband when he come around, because it's like I felt like he's anytime he's around me, I'm just like energetically, this is a really strong word, but almost like my energy is like repulsed, because it's traumatized by I don't know, past wounds, I guess, or past history, right? So it's like anything he's saying or doing or just even being was like triggering to me. Okay, so I've been really removed, you know, and he's been really supportive of me going through everything that I'm going through, because he is my best friend, like I say, and I love him dearly, and I know he loves me as well. So, but I just, my energy was just like, I need the space, you know, I need the space. And I've been like crying for space for the longest time. And we've had challenges for at least 12 years in our marriage, at least, where we probably should have split, you know, because I think it did probably more damage than good, although there is some good as well, which again, we'll talk about then. But what dawned on me was the reason he's still energetically here is because he and I have unfinished business here, and I feel it is communicating what has happened in our marriage, and it's difficult. I think this is going to be very difficult because, like I said, him and I don't even talk about it so much, and because I am private, and he's probably more closed off than I am, but I think he'll be okay communicating, you know, about how he kind of made out, or how it is that he's feeling at those times, because it's such water under the bridge now when him and I take a look at things that we've gone through in the past. So my intention is going to be kind of this, you know, this whole journey as a whole, breaking it down. And I feel like the people who can relate with being in a very long-term commitment or in a marriage, you know, especially if they have kids and in a marriage, and then it, you know, one person's going through a spiritual awakening, or you know, goes off following their life path because they can no longer pretend or be a part of the matrix, or the again, it's like the repetitiveness of what you're supposed to be doing. You know, you're supposed to be with one person forever, and, you know, eat and work and sleep and repeat and watch Netflix and whatever else. Like, I mean, him and I had, you could say, the perfect life. You know, and people would always tell us how lucky we are. And I mean, I'm so blessed and definitely lucky, but inside it was like, I try to tell him, like, I don't feel fulfilled here. Like, I always felt like, you know, we're not made to just be like working and consuming, and it never seemed like it bugged him. Again, I don't want to overshare what him and I will be talking about, but I just gonna put that out there. Like, it just never seemed like it really bugged him as much as it bugged me, to trigger me into really looking at my own life, you know, from removing my ego and seeing, like, where was I complacent and where was I unhappy. And a big part of it was having to disconnect from him and be really real with myself, you know. So I think those, it'll be like, yeah, just raw questions about, you know, how it impacted him, so that if you are on the flip side here of this journey, or with somebody who is going through a spiritual awakening and you're their partner, you know, what are they experiencing? Because that story needs to be told, and I think it'll be therapeutic to help me ascend. And my whole focus now is not my twin flame at all. I mean, I love him unconditionally, but I feel he is really far from where he needs to be. You know, and I love him deeply, unconditionally. I'm in love with him, which is a lot different. And I feel like I don't think I've ever been in love knowing how I feel about him, you know. And it's sad to say, because I spent more than half my life in a marriage and I was in love, but it wasn't the same. It was completely different. So it is difficult to admit, you know, and it's difficult to understand. But those of you guys who have met your twin flame will know and not question. It's completely different. It's an unconditional, electric type love. And going back to, you know, the triggering of when my twin flame said he doesn't want a serious relationship. If any relationship I'd ever been in, okay, now I've only been married once, so I mean, and you know, it's not like I've had a whole bunch of partners, but I was true to what I felt my values are. So if I were, you know, with my husband and he didn't want to be serious, or he didn't want to commit, or if I was in any relationship, there's no way I would ever in a million years even want to be a part of, you know, some energy coming and going in my life. I'd be like, well, you're just wasting my time, and I'm not here to entertain you or mother you or give you anything, because, you know, yeah, not that I don't want to be a giver, but it's like I could be a giver if we're balanced, or if we're, you know, working together. But with my twin flame, it was like, I really don't feel like I want to give to him to get something out of him. And I can totally support him in his journey and say, I hope you find what you want and the happiness you want, you know. And I feel he wants it for himself, but I feel like he has a lot of work that he needs to do. So I can't force him, and his work's going to look different than my work. I just know that every time we come apart, I get inspired to create. And when I'm having all these downloads from spirit, and spirit's telling me I have to tell my story, and I have to create, and I have to, you know, like this video, very impromptu, because spirit's like, you have to start somewhere, and, you know, you'll have to communicate what that journey really looks like, and everything I've kind of gone through, and even, you know, including up to the bad parts of what I've experienced in my marriage previous to my spiritual awakening, you know, to kind of paint the picture here. And yeah, and all of this was coming because of the simple fact that my twin flame and I were, you know, in what I felt like a separation, or a period where he's withdrawn his energy. Like I can't even feel his energy, you know, that's how withdrawn he is. And normally I was kind of feel him around, or energetically where it was tied. So it at first was like triggering, even though him and I have gone through this several times. It was like triggering because we never even got into an argument. I'm like, why is he pulling away his energy, you know? And I was like, oh, going back and forth with be supportive, and I already told him I don't want to go through these cycles, and he's kind of being selfish is what I was thinking. And I'm like, well, I'm being selfish, and maybe I'm wanting to get what it is that I'm wanting. Then I'm like, why am I exerting so much energy here, you know, or feeling bad, because I was feeling really bad and really down. And it's like, I can't feel that anymore. I have to create. And part of my working on myself is healing, okay? And we're never really fully healed, and we never fully really ascend. But the fact that I was still triggered made me realize that I have more work to do. And the message to all the twin flames out there, you know, when you are going through a period of separation, it's either because your twin or you, most likely both, because you mirror each other, are needing to create, are needing to heal, are needing to do something, because on a vibrational level, you guys are in two different places. And, you know, if you're vibrating on a level that your twin flame isn't, you're just gonna vibrate far apart until, you know, and you can't lose your twin flame as far as I'm concerned. When you ascend, your twin flame ascends, okay? Now, maybe one might be a lot slower, you know, and there is free will. But at the same time, your soul is in two bodies. So whatever your soul is ascending, your twin flame is ascending. It's just happening. Okay, it just happens. So I knew, and I felt peace knowing, okay, if I'm focused on myself, you know, and I'm doing what I need to do in order to heal myself, then I know he's doing what he needs to heal. And it doesn't have to look the same. If I'm yogaing, I don't yoga, but meditate, okay, or if I'm, you know, doing research, or using my intuition more and growing in that way, and I feel like that's healing for me, he doesn't need to do any of those things. Maybe his thing is, you know, listening to music, or hanging out with his friends, or, you know, hiking or camping, or, you know, just chilling by a non-fire. so whatever it is that he's doing is healing for him, and I can't be like triggered and be like he's not doing his work or the work, you know, and I can't focus on that. I could just focus on what it is that I need for myself, to heal myself, to ascend myself. And part of it does include, like I said, the past, which I felt for the longest time, you know, I've been focused on trying to heal. And I've released a lot of it, which is why I could probably talk about it. You know, but I feel like there's still more that I think could definitely help to heal. But the sole purpose is for other people experiencing the same thing to understand, you know, again, in a raw way, what both parties are kind of experiencing here, which I think is going to be a good starting point. So this video is just wrapping up that, you know, tarot cards will be coming, energy readings will always be coming, but they'll be kind of peppered into, you know, these videos. And this video is more kind of a ramble about stuff because I've had so many downloads in the last little while, and I feel like the dark night of the soul, just when I feel like I've broken away, it's like I'll have a heavy night where I'll just feel so depressed and down, or days where it's like I'm just, you know, totally consumed in my mind with thoughts, and a lot of it could be around my twin flame and what I'm, you know, what he's doing or why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. And, you know, I got to remind myself to snap out of it. And I'm thinking like, okay, clearly, you know, if I'm still going in cycles, then I still have healing to do. I still have learning to do. I still need to, you know, focus on the mission here. And twin flames mission, okay, now this I normally share with private readings because I do a lot of twin flame private readings, and people will say, well, what's our mission and what are we supposed to, you know, bring to this world and the purpose. And it's like allowing yourself to do what you love to do day in, day out, and break free from the matrix is your purpose. Because people in the matrix need to see that anybody and everybody can pull themselves out of a 9 to 5, out of whatever's not making them happy, out of whatever complacency, and they can start a podcast, they can go on YouTube, they can paint a beautiful picture, they can make music, they can create jewelry, they can go farm, they can go whatever, be whatever, do whatever they please, and the universe is going to support them. And when both twin flames are doing it and come together and make magic, okay, the world can see this, and the world can observe it as, you know, couples who are lifting each other up, who are doing what they enjoy, who are not stuck in the matrix. And this is an example for all the other people who are witnessing this and say, you know what, I want what they have. I want to be free. I want to break free from my complacency or my unhappiness and follow whatever passion I have, and fully love myself enough that I'm vibrating and bringing in people who are also vibrating at the same level. And when you feel like you don't need anybody, you know, you don't need anybody to make you happy and whole, is when you feel so at peace and where you can create and make your magic. And I feel like that's when your twin flame comes, you know, because I always feel like I'm going through these cycles where I feel at peace and I'll feel, you know, like I'm on track. And then I feel like his energy kind of come back, and I'm just like, I'll get sucked into his world, you know, or my mind gets sucked into thinking about him. And I mean, we're humans, so it's not like we can't help it, but that's the lesson, is like, Linda, don't be consumed, you know, don't get consumed. And again, like in my past relationship, like I said, I was like, pretty much, like I said, joined at the hip, like everything we do is together. And it's like what I know, like habitually, right? So it's like, here's my twin flame who's like the freest bird ever, who's not been in, you know, a serious relationship, who's like, I don't get connected at the hip, you know, and I'm just like, okay, that makes sense, because I know that what I'm doing is not everybody's thing, but it's like we're so far apart here in this, in contrast, and I'm just like, what does he need? And I'm like, I can't be somebody who's just here like every once a week. Like, this for me is really weird. Like, it leaves me feeling vulnerable, and it makes me feel like I'm unwanted, and it makes me feel just odd. And then I'm like, well, why do I feel this way? You know, I'll just, whatever, he just go do whatever. It's like, if I'm not angry at him, why am I mad about it? You know, why would I ignore him? Because there are times where I was just like, I'm just going to ignore his message because I'm triggered or angry because of, you know, because we're not connected. And then again, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, what are we going to be connected at the hip? I'm like, I don't want that. I've already learned that lesson. And I'm like, well, what's right? Once a day, twice a day, whatever. I felt like I didn't want to be in a routine, but at the same time, I just didn't want him to use me. You know, I didn't want to be used, is kind of how I was feeling. And why I told him to stop with the morning messages was because I felt like there was a routine always. Like, he'd come and be like the same thing every day, where I just felt like it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was this true soul, like, wanting to reach out to me. Although, I mean, it was him truly reaching out, but I just got triggered by that. So I could see how I was mixed messaging, where it's like, don't message me all the time. And then it's like, well, why are you pulling away? Like, well, what do you want, woman? Right? So very complicated. I'm not mad. You know, but I'm also not going to message him, and I don't feel it's ego. I just feel like he needs space. Clearly, I can't feel his energy. So if I could feel if he was, you know, energetically needing me, maybe I'd see if he's okay. But even then, it's like I rarely ever reach out to him because I've already tried, as far as I'm concerned, to say, okay, here's where I'm at, you know. So just kind of let him do his thing, which I'm sure he will. And I could just focus on me. And what I wanted to tell you guys was, right before I sat down for this video, I found this card on the floor, and it says blessed day. Okay, so it says blessed day. And I dropped these cards lots of times. I drop cards, but I mean, specifically, I always kind of look at the floor to see if I have anything down there. And this one was, you know, sitting on my desk. So somebody must have cleaned it, and my kid might have found it and put it on the desk here. I don't know how I ended on the desk, but I haven't done a reading in a while. So I was like, this is very interesting with this blessed day. We have the sun and the moon, which is all about coming into balance, divine masculine, divine feminine. And part of this video was I know I'm jumping all over the place, and I apologize, but was, am I the divine masculine or am I the divine feminine, you know, energetically? And only until I met my twin flame did I feel I was the divine feminine, but I would have never had guessed that I had really a more predominant divine feminine energy. I would have always assumed I would be the divine masculine energy, okay, because in twin flame you could be a feminine with a divine masculine energy, with the divine masculine with divine feminine energy, right? Like, you can crisscross. But it was, yeah, just, you know, and I'm a life path 7, which is the mystic and typical, very divine feminine, you know. So it's like my divine feminine burst open when I met him, you know. It's like, and I almost felt like I don't want to work, not that the females don't need to work, but I was like, I don't want to work because I feel like I want to be, you know, I don't want to have to be a provider. I felt like I don't want to have to, because I've always been working and providing and grinding and busting, you know. And it's like, I'm just so tired, you know. I'm tired of providing, I'm tired of busting, I'm tired of all of that, you know, dominant masculine energy, where it's like, I just sometimes feel like I just want to be taken care of, you know. And I know that's not in my energy, and I don't think I'll ever fully embrace a full, you know, person who is not independent, because I'm definitely highly independent. But from a perspective of where the masculine's like providing and out there and very assertive and driven, you know, it's like all of that, I just wanted to let it go. I just kind of wanted to be like, you know what, if you want to, whatever you want. It's like, and I'm not a whatever you want type person, but I was just like, whatever he wants. Like, you know, if my twin flame wanted me to, I don't know, just support him in however which way, I'd be like, sure, like, whatever you need, I feel this unconditional love for you. And that is nothing of how I would ever situate myself in any relationship. Now, that doesn't mean taking abuse. That just means challenging your limitations and your views, you know, challenging yourself to really look at, how are you limiting your connection with your twin flame? Is it because you've always told yourself something or believed something to be true, and held it as a value? And if it is, why is that, you know? And why are you holding certain boundaries in place? And I mean, boundaries are really important, but I think we need to really review, you know, as twin flames, like what are our boundaries and why do we have them there? And we have to start looking at our twin flame as ourself. Like, you know, people will ask me like, oh, how many chances should I give my twin flame? It's like, well, how many chances would you give yourself? Like, you know, we're going through a journey. Like, I don't think there's like an end destination. I feel like it's always ascending, and once you get complacent and once you get, then you're back in the same position you were in beforehand. So this video can go on and on forever, and I just really didn't want it to be too shotgun with information. Mostly, you know, questioning divine masculine, divine feminine, which are you? And I think when you start questioning that, I feel you're most likely coming into balance. Okay, so if you feel like you're not sure, I mean, chaser usually is the divine feminine, runner is the divine masculine. So if you're doing a lot of the chasing, but I mean, if you're past that phase, like I'm not, you know, maybe for the first 4 or 6 months, maybe I was messaging my twin flame more and seeing where he was at and more chasing. But after that, I mean, I just like, I don't chase and I don't, but so I was like, am I divine feminine? Am I divine masculine? And not that you really need to care, but it does help you to understand that you can slowly come into balance with yourself and ask that question, you know, which are you? The more balanced you are, and I carry both of those aspects. So I do feel as though my twin flame might be coming into his divine feminine more so than he has in a long time. But I do feel like he is very heavy in his divine masculine, like very, very much so, which I think is why I tipped so much to my divine feminine, like almost like instantly. You know, all of this was coming out of me, where I was like, even asking, like, I don't mother people. Like, I feel really weird. Like, why am I mothering you? He's like, it doesn't bug me. But I just felt like it was, I don't know, like, and I almost questioned, like, am I, like, I didn't feel like I was putting on a show because it was authentically what I was feeling, but it was like, why do I feel like I need to really, you know, just mother him in such a way? Like, oh, make sure you're okay, and, you know, be safe, and don't forget your, you know, your lunch, and just really, really like motherly. And I'd never done that with anyone. I mean, with my son, you know, my daughter, I'm their parent for sure, but not in this way with like an adult person. It just was very interesting. And then the other part of this video was for Tara, which again, I'll call her Tara, but people who are really lost and not sure if they're having a twin flame journey. These videos, I'm hoping, will help to guide you around, you know, what does it look like, and you're not crazy. You know, you're not crazy at all, and it takes you a while to get there. It takes you a while because I feel like you need so much proof from spirit, because things that are happening, you're like, it almost seems surreal, and you're just like, you know, spirit, like, give me a sign, like, and, you know, I need to know, like, why am I experiencing this? Like, this is just so bizarre. And you never experienced anything in your life like this, like the synchronicities, like I was saying, and the dreams, and, you know, just yeah, just things that happen exactly as they're supposed to happen, and the universe starts to seem so like it's engaging with you, you know? Because before with my twin flame, it's like previous to him, it was like I had to control my environment and my outcome and make things happen. But now it's like I just engage with the universe, and the universe just provides. It's like money will just come, you know, and love will just come, and energy just comes. Like, it's weird. Like, you don't have to fight for it. You don't have to carry anything heavy, you know, but it takes a while for you to get there. And the beginning part of the twin flame journey is very painful and scary. So that's what my video is going to be about. Although, like I said, I'm going to do some videos in regards to my marriage. and it's going to be fairly raw, and I'm hoping it will help guide anyone who is experiencing or going through challenges, you know, in their marriage. And I do feel like, you know, that's still part of the journey that I'm still on, in order to release some of that, help me ascend, and hope that it provides some sort of comfort and information to those of you guys who need it. So that was the whole message. And it's okay to be apart from your twin flame, because that means either you or your twin flame are creating. Okay, so stay on your purpose. And I love you guys very, very much. And I really appreciate you guys watching my rambling videos. I might write them pointed down so I don't go totally off on tangents, but I like keeping it raw because it's real. And if there's any questions you guys have, let me know. But I'm going to, yeah, do a series of videos here, and you know, expose a little bit about what you go through and how you might feel in the moment, you know, and what it looks like coming through the other side. All right, so I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.